And it shows now just by his choice of social priorities, when even in the most recent 9/11 anniversary, a 9/11 every other day, total daily abortions near death toll of September 11th. Where have we heard that one before? Can you say Christian cult? But that was the theme of the Alex Jones show, where he declared abortion as America's greatest sin, where Jones has conveniently forgotten that Americans' real sin has been its military-industrial complex and dastardly foreign policy, particularly towards third world countries, that resulted in the 9/11 attacks, regardless of foreign or domestic intelligent ties and provocations, as its greater sin was covering up and using the deaths of nearly 3,000 people killed in broad daylight to only sustain the same problem that got us here in the first place, and will only happen again, which already makes the future look bleak and no safer or closer to any resolve than we were before. And if one may be led to believe or conclude that this is just merely an act, that Jones has been a government disinformation agent or asset all along, well, if you use Jones's own diagnosis and just listen to what comes out of his mouth, you would have every right to make such an accusation, unfounded or not, just as what Adam Green of No More News has recently pointed out.
And I just got text from top intelligence in Israel. Israel has nominated Donald Trump for the 2017 Peace Prize. And Israel has decided to make this nomination basically on the decision to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, taking, I think, an historic, maybe even biblical step to legitimate the state of Israel.
Well, certainly providence that he invoked during the inaugural speech is with our republic. And, of course, England began to help the Jews when they were being persecuted going back 1,000 years ago in Europe. And, of course, it's been known since then. That's why England had so much great providence. And also, of course, the Christian faith and Christ being number one.
Yes, well, even while we're talking, I mean, Israel, I just got another text message. I said we were going to break the news on Alex Jones' InfoWars broadcast. They said one word. They said, great. They're thrilled we're going to break the news on Alex Jones' InfoWars. And that comes directly from a source who's really above Mossad and the intelligence structure in Israel.
Yeah, so folks are really getting things raw here on air now. Folks are really getting things raw here on air now.
How did you get Donald Trump on your show prior to the election? How did you pull that off?
All right. I never tell this on my own show, and this will probably end up being news tomorrow, but you deserve it. I know folks that are part of Delta Force, and I know people that are part of covert action in the Defense Department and the CIA. And quite frankly, they've given me authorization to talk about this. I have never been in the CIA. I have never been part of covert operations, but I was basically contacted by groups inside the Special Forces operations in Florida, inside breakaway groups inside the Central Intelligence Agency, and groups basically behind American industry that wanted to defeat the globalists and they're planning to bankrupt America.
But this is what got Donald Trump to say, I got to be on this guy's show?
Donald Trump was advised by the Special Forces Command out of Florida. They said
to go on your program.
I mean, that's who actually, let's just say it, the enemy already knows all this. Let me just say it so everybody listening knows I'm telling the truth. Special Operations Command in Florida, the Delta Force, Army, Black Ops, Army's the oldest thing in America. It's before the Constitution, anything. They said, sir, you need to go with Alex Jones, and you need to rally the troops. And they briefed him. They showed him the documents, and they said, we need you to run. And the Delta Force basically asked Trump. Delta Force, founded by General Boykin and Schumacher and people like Dr. C. Pachenik of Psychological Operations of the CIA.
That's exactly what all our sources from the FBI and the Pentagon, which means the CIA connected Pentagon, that's Special Operations, that's what they told us. And these are the good guys that continue to give us good info. Doesn't mean the whole thing's good. InfoWars is the tip of the spear, the tip of the spear, the tip of the spear. Oh, Alex Jones is wrong about Anthony Bourdain. Hey, Joe, I talked to the people that were there in the production at the highest levels that are involved in the Pentagon, everything else. I know all about it. Elon Musk. I mean, Joe, I'm not going to tell you, who I talked to yesterday or who I talked to this afternoon. So just let's quit pretending that we aren't the tip of the spear. Let's quit pretending that we aren't the tip of the spear.
The tip of the spear. The tip of the spear.
The tip of the spear. The tip of the spear. But even after I've tried to be nice to 4chan and 8chan and the whole Q thing, it comes out and says, Jones is a Zionist shill. He's going to get arrested. All this crap. Trump's daughter is married to an Orthodox Jew. Trump is pro-Israel, but you guys don't attack him because he's too big a target. But see that paradox of Q becoming anti-Semitic? That's not the real Q. If Q was ever real, we don't need a bunch of anti-Semitic crap, a bunch of anti-Israel stuff. That's a diversion. The Chi-Coms are the issue. The EU's the issue. The UN collapsing our borders the issue. But the idea that QAnon is attacking me constantly going, he's an Israeli shill, don't listen to him. Or maybe it's not even government agents at QAnon, they're Democrats. Maybe they're just people that think there's a set market of conspiracy. Set market of conspiracy. Set market of conspiracy. And I think some of the lower IQ people out there just want something simple they can believe in to go along with it.
But in all seriousness, regardless of administrations, government, and media structures past and present, what we have demonstrated about 1993 should be thoroughly grasped by whatever claims itself to be the 9/11 truth movement, in order to make a case stronger in 9/11 and to also help bring reasonable expectations on uncovering who and what is thoroughly responsible for all these inseparable attacks, in contrast to what authorities have narrowed down to the public as masterminds. The bottom line is that whoever has been organizing these attacks are willingly doing so to set up a false pretext to implicate Iraq, and that it spans many years before even the slightest suggestion of think tank planning with the neoconservative Project for a New American Century. And for the sake of entertaining a Zionist conspiracy or conspirators, the Odin Yanon plan of Greater Israel was already out there in 1982. But as we're coming to a closure, one question that hasn't been answered is how did Ramzi Youssef and other conspirators know where to park the explosive Ryder van in the closest spot near the center of the North Tower? Wouldn't logic tell you that you would either have to have blueprints or a map?